Welcome to your weekly program, Belahdan, the show that brings you the Somali community to your living room. A lot of news, they're making headlines since they arrived this state. They are really changed the face of immigrants, Muslims who have been, as a Muslim community, been hiding for many years. The Somali community brought us to the stage, to the headlights. And I think a few weeks ago, there was a lot of debate, activity about Somali and political activism and the growing activism in the Somali community. And we all know about what's happening in the Democratic caucus there in the district, or wherever President 6 COB and Noor and Khan and all that. Now we have another candidate for the same area there, and he is from the Republican Party. And this is something new, that the Republican Party is paying attention to immigrants, and this is something really be interesting to see the dynamic of it in the Somali community. We have here Abdul Malik Askar. You are running in the same district as Noor, but you are running with a different party. Welcome to Belahdan, right?
Thank you, Ahmed, for having me here. Yes, yes, I'm running for state representative for District 60B, which is located in University of Minnesota, Cedar Riverside, and Seward area. And the district is called 60 in total.
B. So I'm assuming
it's called A and B. So we're running B side.
So what's A?
A is in northeast.
And this is.
And then we are southeast.
So most of the Somali lives in B, I suppose.
The majority, yes. We live in the Cedar Riverside area and Seward area for the Riverside and the Franklin. It depends.
Who's running in A? Do we know them?
A, we don't have any now for running, but we're running for District 60B.
So what is the trend that immigrants now challenging the old white politicians that they've been running politics in district and representative? And this is something new on us. And I think something, a reflection on what happened a month ago in the DFL caucus. Also, I don't know what triggered all of this. Was something because something new, something unorganized, something, what's your read on it?
And basically the problem for the recent caucus happening at the Cedar mainly was causing about what the Republican Party told it before. Republican Party 2012, they said that everybody must have a photo ID when they do in precinct caucus or when they do in voting.
Well, the Republican doesn't line up on a vote.
I want to tell you on that, because when you go to voting, if you have any ID, there's no problem. What happened in the Cedar Riverside was almost 600 people come, no one asking the ID. Some of them, they might come from in North Minneapolis or Eden Prairie, and it was overcrowded, and that's why
I see. It wasn't
exactly.
It was an organizational issue, not a.
Right.
I want to make sure I get a hard time, so you go home.
Not only that, but the concept is there was a delegate is supposed to be in a 43 at the DFL side, and then 600 people show up. So who is becoming a delegate? That's what becomes the conflict.
Well, in any event, any Somali event, there is 600 at least show up. Why didn't they know there was a lot of people coming?
Not only that, because second time they did photo ID was no problem.
Yeah.
So, but the DFL, they refused it in the first time. They said, we don't need an ID in 2012. They said, no ID. But in 2014, they said, oh, we need ID.
I see.
But that is why always in the Republican Party, they would like to prevent the problem before it happened. So, and that's what all Minnesota now, they're seeing that it's important in ID.
But the ID is an issue. It's a very hot potato. As an immigrants, we want to shy away from it. We don't condone the showing IDs, and because a lot of people get intimidated by, especially immigrants, people don't know English. But tell us a little bit, as a Somali, why would you run for a Republican Party? What's knowing for, they are anti, immigrants, anti, whatever.
Right.
I'm not saying this is happening in your percent,
Right. That's a good question, Ahmed. I really appreciate that. The reason why I'm running for Republican, as you know, that we have same values in Republican. When I grow up, in my family's values, married is a man and woman. That we grow up.
Oh, so you run on the cultural issues.
That is same in the Republican Party. That's when we grow up. So that is one. The second thing is I work in the public charter schools, and the charter school is always promoting families, like parents know their children. They know where to send their children. If that is school Eden Prairie located, I want to send my children. And still they're saying that this is your local school home, you can only go. So we're promoting the school choices and the family values. The second thing is businesses. We grow up in entrepreneur businesses. Families, if you need to work, go and buy something and sell something. And that is what the Republican values. So it's our values connected to Republican Party.
But traditionally, immigrants, they, we vote on our political issues, how what people feel about, immigration, how people feel about voting rights, how people feel about issue in the Middle East, how they single out Muslims as potential terrorists and sleeping citizens. I mean, the Republican Party is leading in that, that direction during the Reagan and during Bush father. I mean, they have traditionally are anti-immigrants or anti-Muslims or anti, even in the perception.
I disagree some of them. You look at that in the Muslim communities in America, they vote for Bush. They elected Bush. I know September 11th that incident happened, and everybody was not happy.
You're right. 80% voted for Bush.
For Bush. So that Muslim always
But they didn't vote for
tied.
Shamli Valley because he talked about Muslims' rights and Palestinian rights and all that. But anyway, and I think it's a great thing to have competition. You have people from the two party because the Democrats sometimes they take us for granted, and I think you challenge that.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit what makes you. Why would people, vote for you?
Well, we need to change it. Exactly. That's a good question. The reason why we step up now, and we would like to have that seat, District 60B, was if you look because right now the seat holding for DFL side, Phyllis Khan, she's a highly educated, she's a well-respected, and we respect her. She's been doing for a long time in our district, and we respect her.
She's like Mubarak,
we respect her. And the only difference between her and us is if you look for the committee in a state representative, Phyllis Khan, she's not in the education committee. In our district, we are low performance in our students. We need somebody who cares our education, to promote our education, to value our education, to vote for us when the state representative. The second is housing. And we have a lot of students at the University of Minnesota, Askar College, St. Kate, and also in Cedar Riverside housings. We need housing issues, whether it's a high cost or within a space. She's not the committee of that housing. So we need somebody in that committee. She's a different committees. If you're looking for housing, education, health, she's not in a health committee.
But these are democratic issues: housing, education,
I don't think so.
Republic-run business and efficiency.
No, Republicans, they're promoting that the number one in education. Have you seen that No Child Left Behind? That's the only one party who bring it on the table and say no one is not left.
A lot of children in the Somali community. You can't leave one.
No child left behind, everyone.
I think that's a Bush thing, isn't it?
That's a Republican, right?
Yeah.
And we need to promote in education. That's a values, because low performance, the only way we can improve is when we let the parents their choice. When we let the parent ask them, what is the weaknesses for your son, your daughter?
And people take a charge.
Exactly. And that is why when we go to the state representative to represent them, to allocate them money for the resources, to tutoring, to need more teachers, qualified teachers. We don't want to be in teachers that sitting these schools for 10 years.
I just want to make a disclaimer here that we actually invited Noor, also invited all the concern here, and people, they are busy or they didn't come, and they might come later on. Just to make sure we're going to give them a platform to tell their story. But tell us, how do Somalia vote? I mean, do you vote like an alliance, tribal? I mean, it seems like they go with whatever their alliance is, not really political issue or cultural issues. Do you think so?
It depends how you approach it in Somali communities. If you're looking for elder Somalis or the younger Somalis or the women or the workers and the businesses, it's a different level. You want to approach that. Some of them you might be recruiting for social values. You're saying that this is the same values we're sharing. We need to do that. So they basically, it's not like Abdi Malik. They ask you a lot of questions. They show their interest in what you can do, bring on the table. So we depend on all the times that. But this race in 2014, I think we're going to get a lot of votes.
Did you have your caucus? Or do you have your
We did already.
So how many showed up? I mean, is this, you have your...
In our district, we have a 12 precinct caucus, and we have 140 delegates, and 80 delegates show up. And then I get that endorsement for Republican Party. in District 60B.
Well, thank you so much. I think it's a beautiful thing to have Somali. They've been getting in political activism.
Thank you so much.